including the establishment, purchase of property, creation of geothermal relocation and community benefits fund, public safety funding, expenditures from fund, and relocation expenditures, introduced by Mr. Yagong, June 6, 2012.
Mr. Blago.
Motion to approve Bill 256, draft to a second and final reading.
Second by Ms. Ford. Mr. Blago, if you don't mind, could you take the chair, and I'd like to speak to this if I could.
Thank you. Let the record show I've assumed the chair. Mr. Yagong, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blago. First of all, council members, I just wanted to share with you a couple of things because obviously there was some concerns brought forward by residents in regards to passing Bill 256 on whether or not it would actually affect their property values. As you know, some people have come forward saying that if we pass this, their property values would be lowered or they would be devalued. And the other concern was that, the concern about being able to obtain insurance or concerned about actually losing their insurance should Bill 256 pass. I just want to let you folks know that, I take those concerns extremely seriously because obviously, when you pass legislation, you want to make sure that you don't have any unintended consequences. So those two concerns are something that I felt very strongly about looking into to make sure that this bill would not actually affect that. What we did was we went and spoke to the real property tax department in regards to whether or not, indeed, if we were to actually take relocate someone from an area, and purchase that property, have the county purchase that property and relocate them, whether or not that would affect the property value of those living around or surrounding the area. And what the real property tax told me, the real property tax department told me was this: no, it would not. And the reason that it would not affect the valuation of properties that surrounds the PVG is this: when your property assessment is basically based on market value, and then market value is based on comparable sales. Whatever sales that are happening within the area, they will take that, and of course, if the sale price is down, obviously that brings the market value down, and that's how you would devalue your property. But the county of Hawaii, when they assess properties, they do not utilize county purchases of property as a comparable sale. So if the county goes in and purchases a property, they will not utilize that as a comparable sale to determine market value in the area. But the thing is, what they told me is actually it works in the opposite because the code says 130% of the market value. In essence, the home that is being purchased at a higher value. So it's not going to bring it down. It actually raises it, but again, it's not used as a comparable sale. So, as far as the evaluation of property, the values of the properties have been assessed for years. As you know, the plant has been there for over 20 years. So whatever the assessment is, it's that moving people out because of relocation will not devalue their property. That's number one. And in terms of the insurance, as you know, these properties are in Lava 1 and Lava 2 zone. Lava 1 and Lava 2, as you know, is a zoning that it's very difficult to get insurance. And that's why the state of Hawaii has set up this organization called the Hawaii Property Insurance Association, HPIA. And that program is basically set up so that we have sort of like a catch-all for those areas that that need homeowners insurance, need fire insurance, but they're not able to get with regular vendors simply because the risk is high. So this association is set up. It's run by Island Insurance here in the state of Hawaii. I called the plant administrator of HPIA, and most of the people that live around this geothermal plant have insurance through this program. Again, because it's Lava 1 and Lava 2. And I explained to the administrator exactly what we were doing with the relocation fund, and explained to her the concerns of the community, saying that number one, either they won't be able to get insurance, or number two, that they would lose their insurance, or the vendor would take that insurance away. This is the response that Terry Farbry from the HPIA, she's a plant administrator, and she's an employee of Island Insurance. She said, "Aloha, Dominic. On behalf of the Hawaii Property Insurance Association HPIA program, I'm responding to your inquiry about availability of homeowners and dwelling fire insurance coverage for risk located within the vicinity of the Puna geothermal venture. The HPIA program guidelines do not prohibit insuring such risk. HPIA currently provides homeowners and dwelling fire insurance coverage on risks located around the Puna geothermal venture and will continue to do so. HPIA has no plans to change the program guidelines should the geothermal relocation program change, should Bill 256 actually be enacted. So I just want to let you folks know those are very, very important concerns that the community brought forward. But I will assure you, and this is from HPIA, basically what she told me was this. She said, Dominic, think of it this way. If you, wherever you live, if your neighbor is relocated, your neighbor decides, and they relocate your neighbor, the insurance company cannot and will not take away your insurance based on the fact that your neighbor was moved. That's simple. So, I just want to make sure that we address those issues. And with that said, I will yield. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. Your comment, Ms. Martin?
Thank you. I just wanted to address some concerns that people had about the monitoring. It is my understanding that a third party is already responsible for operation and data collection of the air monitors, and they are the ones that are responsible for reporting that data to the Department of Health, and then Department of Health and PGV display the real-time data. If I'm wrong on that, someone please correct me, but it is my understanding that a third party already does do that data collection. So I just wanted to make that point in terms of some of the testimony we heard today. I do intend to keep supporting this bill. Thank you.
Is that a question for Chair Yagone? Do you require a response to your question or comment?
I think it was more of a comment. It is my understanding that a third party already does do the actual monitoring and oversight of the air monitors. That I just wanted to make that point. And if I'm wrong, someone please correct me.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Ford, followed by Councilmember Hoffman.
Thank you. I've got a few comments to make, but if Dr. Heisen is still over there in Puna, I'd like him to come forward. Thank you. I'm going to make some comments before I ask him a few questions. First of all, regarding this public safety program, I personally have several scientists that are mentors for me. I have no pretense about being knowledgeable on physics, and things are way beyond my level of training. I have a friend who's a doctor of geophysics, and as is apparently Dr. Heisen. And one of the things that we've talked about is the fact that sulfur dioxide is not the only aerosol that can possibly cause severe health problems. Now, we've heard a lot of talk previously about the Jerome monitors, and they're great monitors for sulfur dioxide. But there are other aerosols that need to be tested, and we may need to purchase those types of monitors so we get a spread of aerosols that we can investigate. That's number one. Secondly, I want to be very fair. We have a lot of people in this area who are getting sick. I have no doubt in my mind that they are sick people, physically sick. But what's causing the illness, I honestly don't know. You have geothermal who says, we're innocent, we're not doing anything wrong, and you have a whole community saying it's them. So when we do these studies, when these studies are actually set up, and we're talking long-term epidemiology studies, that they need to not only do the 1 mile radius around the thing and the 2 mile, 3, maybe up to 5 miles, but we also need to go sideways along that rift zone and do some studies there. Because what if we find out these people are really sick, but it's not coming from the plant, it's coming from the rift zone itself? We need to know that information because it's going to take long-term planning to figure out what to do. So I want a full study. I do not want the Hawaii State Department of Health involved in the study. I'm in that department on this particular issue. Do we need to get somebody outside of the state? In my opinion, yes. So Dr. Heisen, you had testified earlier that you had a part of a toxicology study from University of Texas, and it was pretty negative on this plant. Is that what I think I heard?
Yes, you did. You must remember Dr. Marvin Legator's health study from about 20 years ago? Or what? Oh, then it's on? Come on. Okay. You can hear me.
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay, this was done, this happens to be in 1997, but I think he started about 1994.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple more questions, but I need real short answers. You are a geophysicist, correct?
No, mostly I'm doing theoretical physics as well as being a biologist.
Okay.
But not geophysics specifically.
Okay, thank you. Do you happen to know about can you comment on a statement that was made earlier that one of our testifiers said that there are times when the radon levels are so high that there's a purple glow. Do you know anything about that?
Not specifically. I do know that radon is highly toxic. I heard that the source gas from the geothermal had 200,000 picocuries per liter, and you're generally concerned about radon if it gets above 4. Like if it's in your basement or something. So 200,000 is a lot of radon, and they're both heavy. They would both go to the ground, and they mix together and form sort of a sticky azeotrope gas, sort of H2S plus radon. Both toxic.
All right. One of the things that was mentioned is that, and this was actually mentioned by the attorney for the geothermal, that there's a lot of different things to study. And I happen to agree with him on that. There's a lot of variables that we've got to cover. But somehow the county is going to have to take charge of this, in my opinion, through civil defense. That doesn't mean civil defense will actually do the studies or the monitoring. They might be the recipients of those types of studies. But I think we need to do long-term medical studies on the people and get to the bottom of this. 20 years with no medical studies is abhorrent. We cannot go on. I have to tell you, I personally get a little bit offended when people come up and say, don't do these studies. These people are all, just making this up. I don't accept that. That is not an acceptable answer when you've got polarized situations. Okay, please hold. Don't do that, please. Thank you. When we've got a polarized situation and we've got people who are physically ill, we've got to get to the bottom of it, and that means we've got to do these studies. I'm disappointed in hearing that somebody told University of Texas not to produce the full report or something along those lines. We've got to deal with that issue, and I will yield now.
Thank you, Ms. Floyd. Councilmember Hoffman, who will be followed by Councilmember Glass.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've sat here over several of the meetings that we've had, and also at the Puna community meeting that we had. So I think I've heard pretty much most of the testimony, if not all of it. And I do appreciate all the input that's been given by the people in the community again and again on many occasions. I've tried to listen and be attentive. I quite frankly, however, feel that I've never seen an issue or very few issues that the council has faced that has had as many twists and turns and as complex as I think this issue really is. I term it the perfect storm of conflicting interest. And by the measure of the testimony that we heard today, it's clear that the division in the community is pretty strong. I understand that, and I can appreciate and sympathize and empathize with the members of the community. Just think of what we have here. First of all, we have a situation in which people are being criticized for the state's effort to try to expand the PGV facility. They want to drill a new hole, but they've mandated a lack of an EIS for that particular new facility. And I cannot understand myself why the state would pursue that particular policy, or PGV would pursue that policy, knowing that there is a lack of confidence and credibility on the part of many members of the community as far as the facility is concerned in the first place. 256, however, does not really concern itself with that. 256 does a very clear and interesting aspect of this, and that is to try to put back the original purpose and intent of the Geothermal Relocation Fund, and to try to expand that effort a little bit to make certain that proper monitoring is done. I cannot understand why the addition of proper monitoring devices would not be considered a good thing by all participants in this particular effort. Think about it. I empathize clearly with the members of the Leilani Estates Homeowners Association when they point out that they're worried about their property values. But folks, I cannot think that someone in the Puna community didn't recognize that when this whole issue first bubbled up several months ago, that the issue of property values would obviously be impacted one way or another. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that some of the same people, I think, in Leilani Estates who supported Mr. Bloss's CIP project just a little while ago for a, quote, evacuation center or community meeting center, reflecting the concern that they had regarding the nearby PGV facility, didn't connect the dots at that time and recognize that there would be perhaps some adverse impact on property values. I mean, after all, if you're asking people to invest in your community, you have to make certain somehow that the efforts that are being taken by that community secure that investment that you've made in your property. So I'm a little puzzled as to how we didn't see that happen before. I certainly pointed it out to several people at the beginning of this whole discussion. We have indeed the idea of trying to put monitoring into this effort. Does it not seem logical to me that good, effective monitoring, in addition to what's ever being done now, would actually improve the confidence of people moving into the Puna community in the near vicinity of the PGV facility over the next couple of years? What would be better? To ensure that the monitoring is done properly and that there's a level of confidence that will be restored in future investors who want to look ahead at buying homes or properties or retaining their properties in the Puna area. I can't see how this can be a drawback. More importantly, however, as an elected official, I'm presented with a clear choice, it seems to me. I absolutely empathize, and I've related, I think, my thoughts to a number of people who emailed me over the weekend. I spent pretty much Sunday afternoon, a couple of hours, responding to emails at home this past Sunday. But it seems to me that when an elected official is presented a choice between impact adversely on property values or public health or safety, there isn't much of a choice there. I must look and support public health and safety each and every time. And that's why I'm going to vote for Bill 256. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Bloss.
Thank you, Mr. Pilago, Mr. Chair. You know, I want to make a comment about some of the testifiers that came in this morning about Kaukai Boulevard. You know, Kaukai Boulevard is 6 miles long. 3 miles there for 25 years. It's never been paved. And that's including the front of the school. So you're talking about safety and for the community, this has never been done for 25 years. Down in Wawa, also, this road down there has never been paved for at least 25 years down there. And we couldn't even get out of that for an emergency. We have a lot of people moving down there, and we never get through that road. Okay, yes, I agree on where I'm concerned about health and safety of the people. You know, down at Geothermal, I took a tour down there, and there's cattle there right next door to Geothermal. It's been there for 9 years. 9 years. There must be over 200 cattle. There are fish ponds in front of that Geothermal. They've been there for a long time, never had any problem. The papaya the trees is surrounded all over Geothermal. And they are just, those farmers are just so happy that how much money they make down there. They made so much money, and they have to cut the trees down. Somebody got jealous on it. The coqui frogs are thriving down there tremendously. But you know, I'm really concerned with the public about health and safety. How about these animals? How about these plants? I have a cousin that owned 9 acres right across the street from Geothermal. Never had any problem. Never had any problem with trees dying and all that. I also like to make a comment on relocation. What got this started is a lady and her friend came into our Paoa office to talk about settling her relocation claim that she applied many years ago during Mr. Kim's administration. And when the economy was good and property values had skyrocketed, they assessed this lady's property at the market value when it was high. Planning went out to reassess the property, but there were no issues. There was issues with permits. She refused to do anything to the property regarding this permit. So it went on and on and on for years. She never got relocation money. She tried to settle this claim with the 2 former council members to no avail until 6 months ago. She came to Pahoa office and asked me, can you help me settle this relocation claim at the assessed value when the market was good? I told her I would have to talk to the planning director and to the mayor to settle this. We went back and forth trying to settle her claim. She was upset, very unhappy, and agitated that wouldn't even think about trying to settle at today's market price and such a price when she filed her claim. Then we finally came to an agreement that she was paid for relocation claim. At no time this lady and this gentleman came in there and complained about any sickness. All these years that she put the claim, nothing happened. All she wants is the relocation money. And now all of a sudden, people are coming down with illness because they can get relocation money. For the past 18 years, only 1 medical claim has been filed with PGV. And I'm not for PGV in between, whatever. They have $26 million for any medical claims that you can go and get from PGV. I have a gentleman also that came to my office and asking for help for relocation money. He ran for state senator 2 years ago. And he has a medical issue and he wants to be relocated. And when he came to the office asking for help for relocation, he told me he looked at his real estate documents and that there was a disclosure living next to a geothermal plant that, hey, they're not responsible for it. I told him to contact the planning department and fill in an application. He thought